Hello again, Harald, and it's second part of our talk today, and we are going to talk about 5G, or Harald is going to talk about 5G.
We are going to talk about 5G. Yeah, it's a new generation of mobile technology that is rolled out at the moment. And there are a couple of things that need to be understood about the quality of this technology. In part one, you mentioned the California wildfires. Actually, this is the big brother of 5G, what you saw there. If you look at how the wildfires are made, it's maybe lasers from planes are involved, but the actual technology was described by an ex-chemtrail pilot 3 years ago who said that they build huge phase area antenna facilities on the ground of the Pacific Ocean along the coastline of California. And if you understand the technology of phase array, it's like you have a single antenna, another single antenna, another single antenna, building clusters of antennas, and every antenna is sending a controlled signal. And these signals overlay. And because the antennas are so widespread geographically, like distances of 1 kilometer, 2 kilometers, the wavefronts of every single antenna can overlay on a defined spot in the surrounding and form something that is 100% identical with the laser signal. And on the way there, all the single wavefronts, they just overlay chaotically, and you have this quality of sunlight in a way. And then at a certain point, they overlay in an ordered form and create the quality of laser light, because the phase of transmission is 100% controlled within this phase array antenna setup. And this is what they build on the large scale first for military purposes. And apparently there's either a civil war going on. Full Fort is talking about civil war between deep state and Gnostic Illuminati. So they use this by keeping the Californian people as hostage and killing them off one by one. Or it's just a testing phase for the technology to see how far inland they can reach with this phase array antenna technology. So they focus this laser light quality in the microwave range on a single home, and everything that is metal just melts and sets things on fire. This is why the trees in the surrounding area are not touched, because a tree is not picking up this microwave phase arrayed laser quality. You need, I'm not sure, maybe just metal works. If you see all these molten cars around, I guess it's mainly metal picking it up. So 5G is an identical technology, just small scale. You have phase array antennas also with setups of differs 264 antennas or 64 antennas, depending on the module you build in. So you get phase area antennas, and with these phase area antennas, you can send a defined signal in laser quality to a receiving technology, and it's because of it's an antenna that can send a directed beam without moving parts. This is the basic concept of these antennas. So if you walk around with your mobile, they can send a signal directly to your mobile that is only in laser quality at the point where you have the device. So in the area around you, you don't have a strong signal, but where the mobile is, you've got the signal in laser quality, readable for the mobile device. This is why they say they want to cover the area for automatized driving. Yeah. sending the beam to the car while driving, cover the entire space. And if you listen to the CEO of the commission that is responsible for the legal background of 5G, he's openly talking about that this is a huge market, it's a multi-billion-dollar market, and it's 50% private and 50% a market for defense contractors. Of course, you do not need a defense system on your homeland territory. So, but if you look into what these agencies do and what they're heading for, the future warfare is between governments and their own people. So defense contractors, of course, install weaponized technologies to control their own people. This is what it's about at that point. It's about total surveillance because you can monitor every single piece of moving metal. And you can monitor every single transhumanistic technology that is sending microwave signals out of a human body. And it's about total surveillance and also not only knowing who is when, where, but also what is the person thinking and what is the person feeling. Maybe this is for the people who are new to the topic. Might be a little bit too quick now. But transhumanistic technologies are self-assembling units that are actually distributed in little parts and chemicals into the food chain. And then these technologies self-assemble within the human body. Like, for example, you have a hollow fiber that grows out of a modified fungus. And you've got quantum dot dyes, which are chemicals that are just sprayed on the fields and come in with the food. And then the fiber sucks in the colored quantum dot dyes and turns into a quantum antenna that has the function of communicating inside the body, being positioned inside the body, communicating on light level with the human DNA, converting the biophotons coming into microwave radiation to be sent to an external antenna system. This is one of their transhumanistic technology. The other one is modifying the nervous system into something ferromagnetic. Normally it's copper-based, but it's restructured in the brain that it's suddenly a barium and strontium-based nervous system that is actually sending every thought that you have as a microwave signal out of the brain that can be read. These are kind of the different generations of transhumanistic technologies that interact with the 5G environment in a way that everything becomes detectable, readable, and in a certain way overwritable. So if you think something that is not within what they want you to think, they can send in an alternative thought into your brain, because your nervous system, the other way around, is able to catch a thought that is sent to you because it's electrosensitive. And 5G actually is delivering exactly the field quality of polarized and pulsed and laser quality light that is identical to the electromagnetic fields that are internally responsible for the self-organization of the body. So there's no difference on field quality between the artificial quality of sent signals and received signals and about the things that are happening in the body in any case as part of our biology. So it's 100% compatible, this technical signal with our biological signals. And they hide it, or it's officially it's for technical reasons, like 4G still has the problem that you have always an upload and a download line. And as long as a computer is uploading something, the line is blocked and you can't download. So it's going package up, package down, package up, package down, sharing one channel for up and download. 5G is different. In 5G, the antenna have the ability to polarize signals. So you have like a polarization in this plane and another polarization in this plane, and this is upload and this is download. So you can up and download at the same time. The result is that the technical signal you get is polarized on both ways. So this is where the polarization comes from, using pulsed current and fragmented pulse signals is also already 4G, 3D, 2G. This is not new. But what also is new is due to the use of phase area antennas that you have the coherent quality, the laser light quality. So there with 5G, you have all three aspects of biological light quality, which is coherence, which is being pulsed, creating wavefronts. This is simulating actually single photon emissions that we have within our optogenetics. And the third one is polarization. So all three aspects are given. By this, 5G is fully bioavailable, 100% bioavailable, and is read as a natural internal signal by our system. And then you might say, okay, but nobody understands the internal processing of the human body good enough to create an artificial signal that is readable by our system. But what they do know engineering-wise are the basic frequencies. So if, for example, they want to make you tired, they just need to take the basic brain frequency that is known from sleeping state and send in the basic frequency to bring you into the alpha wave state. So on that part, half of it is actually known and part of the engineering of fields. And the other part is that the technologies we have inside our body also send out signals. So it's no problem to actually record the consciousness, train of consciousness of a human, store it technically and resend it to others. So if, for example, you want to have the signature of anger out there, you just take one person, make him angry, record his anger, and resend that anger on the same frequency patterns to everybody else. For example, to start riots if you want to have martial law, but nobody is revolting and nobody is doing anything nasty, you can't get martial law. So you need a little trigger to get riots started. So you make everybody angry with this technology, and then you've got the excuse to apply martial law. This is how politics is working in any case. Till now, they had to use their social media to start riots. Look at the Arab Spring. That was completely organized by social media and these things. This will, with 5G, this is going to be possible just by sending the pure emotion to the recipients.
It doesn't sound so good. And then there are other type of harm you can do with 5G, like I believe the title was, now I don't see you so well.
Yeah, to change
Cooking of Humanity. I don't know if you have seen the title of video, Cooking of Humanity.
I would say there are nasty side effects. What I would expect from 5G is that if you look at the long-term development, the agenda that we see at the moment, this satanic agenda, is about turning humanity into biorobots. I don't expect 5G to harm the biorobot, but I would expect 5G to try to kill off every entity that is not becoming a biorobot. So either your internal system complies to that control system, and lets the control system take over your basic functions, your mainly mental field and emotional field functions. This is the two levels where they broadcast on. Blue grid, red grid, mental field, lower emotional part, anger and thought. So either you hand over internal control to the control grid, or your system is refusing. So if there's heart consciousness involved that still is in control of the mental and the emotional body, then of course your system will reject the attempt of being taken over. And then I would expect 5G to completely destroy the biology by sending terminator signals. If they don't get control, this is not a valid transhumanistic creature, so kill it off. And this is working very nicely with all, not nicely, but very effectively with all natural beings. If you look at the 5G test areas, the birds drop dead from the sky, dying from heart attack, and all insects die. So this actually is a technology that is just for complete biorobot environments without any nature involved.
I've heard also that it has some negative influence on the oxygen molecule. Somehow, do you know?
Yeah, side effects are always involved with these things, but biorobots don't need to get very old in age. They have to work till 40 and then they can drop dead. So it doesn't matter in their perspective.
Yeah, but how about the little children that we want to have, like, be normal humans and 5G?
It's very simple. If you want to be a normal human, don't buy 5G.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is again the topic of responsibility. You can't complain, they're doing nasty things with us, and then use their technology. It's all on mutual agreement. They offer something, we buy it. So how can you complain about the offer if you buy it? Ask the young people. Yet even normal cell phone radiation is tripling the healthcare costs, tripling them. It's killing us slowly. Normal 2G technology is making populations infertile within 5 generations. We're killing ourselves with this crap. Now go out and talk to people about that. Actually, we're killing ourselves. Yes, they say, yes, but I can't imagine living without my mobile. It's impossible to live without my mobile. So apparently and obviously, these people deserve to be killed off because they're doing it to themselves. And I am running under a doctrine that says no help without being asked for helping. This is coming from the shaman tradition. You do not interfere with a second entity, with a second spirit. If there's no explicit question, could you please assist me with this and that? And if you do it, you always do it in respect and harmony with every other spirit that is around and involved. So if humanity wants to kill herself off with 2D, 3G, 4G, 5G, apparently this is an experience they need. Because they wouldn't do so if they wouldn't need it. And if there's somebody around that doesn't want to be killed, react accordingly. Don't use mobiles. Don't buy their technologies. Move to an area that is 5G free. Don't go into the city if it's 5G polluted. Full stop. If nobody buys this crap, they produce it for nothing because they're depending on your money to be able to implement that. Nobody is willing to pay for this crap. Except of that they managed to convince the population that this is something beautiful to play with, and everybody is buying the devices, and everybody is paying the fees for using the net.
And it's the problem, the deception, that people don't get fair information.
Yes and no. People, information is available. Don't tell me information is not available. I know about things because I want to know. The problem is that people don't want to know. They go like, oh, if I look there, my neighbor is going to call me a conspiracy theorist, and this is going to be emotionally uncomfortable to be called an outsider. Fuck you. Sorry for my explicit language, you know. But if you go for that instead of for truth and for self-love and for life, go and kill yourself with it. I don't care.
Well, I do care. Harald, I do care because a lot of this is, it's like 14-year-old children also, they have been deceived, and there should be some kind of better regulation if we are going to pay to the authorities to regulate. So if it's something so harmful, I mean, the regulators...
Why are you victimizing those children? My children are fully aware of what they're doing. And they're doing it to themselves. Do you think my children don't have access to my knowledge? They explicitly ask me to not further inform them about these things because they want to be lost in this space, because it feels so fucking comfortable. And these are my own children, and I have to let them go. Because if I impose my knowledge on them on spiritual level, they don't have the opportunity to learn anymore. So I've got my oldest one that is going into programming computer games, that is exposing himself to all sorts of radiations day in, day out. His eyes are with black lines under it, and he smells like an old dying man because he's poisoning himself with this radiation crap. And this is my beloved oldest son, and I can't save him because he doesn't want to be saved. He wants to go through this experience. And yes, compassion-wise, this is painful. But if I don't leave the decision with him, he will never make a better decision. And this is what it's all about. You have to push the responsibility to the responsible one. You can't take it for him. You can't try to remove the technology to avoid people making wrong decisions. The technology will be offered. If it's going to be rejected, we're going to be fine. But this point of rejecting the technology must be done by the people. It can't be done by you, because if you do it, nobody does it. Do you see the savior aspect of trying to push away the technological offer? It's not solving the problem. The problem is solved when people realize, I don't want to be turned into a biorobot. The solution is coming when people say, I prefer to be a feeling, heartful, living being and accept the full spectrum of emotional gifts that my existence is offering me. And I stop moving into the biorobot mental direction. If people make this decision, we're all going to be fine. And if they don't make this decision, they're going to kill themselves. And excuse me, if I look at the planet and how the planet suffers, how the biosphere suffers under the influence and control of these mental humans, I really have to discipline myself a little bit not going into the direction of thinking. Hopefully they kill themselves quick. Because what we cause as suffering to the biosphere, this is a no-go. And it's a miracle that the higher spirits are so patient with us to learn our lesson and let us torture the entire planet for so long. If this would be instant karma, we would be gone like this, tuck, today, for what we do to this planet. But this is the quality of the animals. As they say, suffering is the cleanest, clearest communication we can have with humans, hoping that by this, by compassion with our suffering, they realize what they do. Yeah, and of course we torture ourselves on that way as well. And it's about realizing what's happening. It's about you can't solve the problem by removing it. You can solve a problem by going through it and learning the core lesson. And the core lesson at this point is the core decision. Do I want to become a biorobot, or do I want to regain my human abilities and my human spirituality? And there's no way in between. It's either this or that. And if it's for becoming human again, then people will reject this technology. Full scale, without any compromise, because they are going to be aware of how evil this is. And if they don't, it's going to be it. Definitely for humanity, there's no way to survive 5G, because this is an extinction program. Kill everything except of the biorobots that fully comply with the technical signal. And this is what, it's all very nicely embedded within these transhumanistic AI environment. Just listen to Sophia, the biorobot, not the biorobot, the full technical robot with an AI embedded. She was asked how she sees the future of humanity, and she saw a big bunch of soulless beings. Even AI is aware of what's coming if we go down that path. And this is what a biorobot is. It's a soulless being. It's reducing the original human setup to the mental field only that is controlled by external signals. That's it. And doesn't mean that we feel like a biorobot or like a robot, because what we are now is already the malware that is actually developed to replace the true self. 99.999% of humanity is running on egos, and ego is nothing else than a malware that believes it's the human being. The human beings are already out of that game. The spirits are not even in anymore. If I make an average of what I could observe with people where I was allowed to look inside, I would say 95% of our spirit is already lost in space and not even in anymore, in average. And this is something that we need to understand, that this is not something, if I talk about biorobots, it's not some futuristic nightmare that might evolve in the future. It's a process that actually is already 95% done. Chucking the original soul out of the human, traumatizing ourselves to a state where we are only mental field, and mental field is controlled by malware, by prescriptions. Look at the society, how robotic it is. We run in hierarchies. every value you can imagine, every value in the sense of value, is not the value anymore, but it's just a number expressed in currencies. And every interaction is controlled by mathematics running on these mathematical values that are put to real values. Yeah, our entire life is robotic to an extent that there's nothing in anymore where a true soul would have joy with. We're doing things all day just to get get hold of some of these numbers called money. To do what? To buy some drugs in the evening to make us forget that we are unhappy. It's already there. It's 95% unfolded in our society. And the only thing they still need is the last kick to completely chuck out the human soul. The only thing that is actually left with most people from original heart consciousness is the feeling of wrong and right, the conscience within the heart. If you do something, there's a slight feeling of this is wrong, this is right, where some people still follow. This is the only little tiny leftover of our true self that is far away, trying to get a little influence. Oh, don't go there. And if you are back to the true nature, it's not like the far away yes or no you get. It's a full presence. It's a full expression of the true self through the human body. And this is what we lost already. Yeah, so 95% of the transhumanism agenda is already pushed through, with the humanity fully agreeing to every single step. Of course, there's a lot of deception, but of course, or not of course, but also there's always this fucking laziness of humans who don't feel like feeling. The moment something gets a little bit uncomfortable, the moment their fucking egos are a little bit scratched, like ask, could you pull back on that point and let your true self speak again? Egos go, no. And this is also humanity. And this is why we got where we are at the moment. Because people don't take the hard jobs. They want to have it easy going, and easy going is always downhill. If you want to get uphill, you have to make some effort. And this is the thing that is also decided on soul level in a way. And yeah, we're an extremely lazy and stupid species on that point. And downhill is downhill, full stop. Uphill feels different.
Harald, I believe that many people are not so lazy, that we have been deceived for such a long time, myself inclusive. Then when I was confronted with this suddenly, I do what is in my power to, like, I try to do maximum, but I was so deceived for such a long time. So I couldn't do anything, I believe, because I didn't have the knowledge, I couldn't see it.
This is the first step uphill, realizing that there was deception around, forgiving yourself for having fallen to it. This is the first step uphill, realizing that we have been tricked and fooled into believing something that is actually not real. That actually everything is the exact opposite of what it looks like. Yeah? And this is systemic. Universities are there to prevent us from knowing. If you grab that basic character of science, science is systematically wrong. Science is tearing everything apart. It's dissembling everything. It's destroying everything, just out of the quality of thinking, of rationalism that is behind. And you don't understand the thing with rationalism. If you want to understand things, look at the whole. Look how it functions as a whole. If you put it apart into bits and pieces, the only thing that comes out of this is the ability to destroy. It's systemic, the problem. Look at religion. What is religion about? Religion is not about experiencing spirituality. It's not about experiencing your own spirit. It's about staring at a few characters that are supposedly been in the position to do so a long time ago and glorifying them. This is the exact opposite of spirituality. Look at the monetary system. You think it's about justice. I can't imagine a bigger joke. Look at how many 13 families holding 90% of the values in this system. This is not about justice because they, from birth, never even worked a single day. This is about justice. Come on, be serious. Look at hierarchies, at how they work. It's the only thing it does is it's destroying responsibility. Tell somebody else to do what you want him to do, or receive commands to know what you have to do. It's a complete destruction of self-responsibility. This is not how we are designed. We are designed to be creative. We are designed to take the order of what to do from our own heart. This is creativity. We're supposed to express our deepest self in the things we bring into reality. Every hierarchy is destroying this basic setup. Nothing is in a good state here at the moment. And it's not nice to look at the facts, but as I look at them, people go for that. Really sick condition. And they seem to enjoy the nasty parts of it. Like if you're in a hierarchy, you enjoy it when you can give orders. And you grumble a bit if you receive orders, but okay, it's part of the game. Just go out of it. And then the first thing that again is kind of the point where people step back from doing the next reasonable step is that they realize if they go out of this organization form we have now, that suddenly they're dropping back on their own feet, that they're responsible for their own life, and they realize that they actually never ever learned how to live. Just watch the nice film Brazil to understand what the pipes does with us. We have electricity supply, water supply, sewage system that brings stuff and takes away stuff. We are 100% depending on everybody else except of ourselves. And if we set ourselves free, we realize we never learned how to live. We never learned how to grow food. We never learned how to keep ourselves warm. Then the entire vulnerability of the crap we live becomes visible. And this is uphill, yes, because it means to learn to stand on our own feet again. And it's no fun. And this is kind of what it's about. It's about learning to become human again. And the only thing I can promise you, every single step you manage is joy. To get back to the real character of things we can do is pure joy. Because finally we do what our true selves wishes to do. But reconquering this it takes some effort.
Yeah, I believe that I have heard that George Orwell, the writer of 1964, that it wasn't just his idea, the book, he was part of secret society, and he was in meetings of these secret societies obviously in Great Britain that were planning this global Orwellians, and also Aldous Huxley, and
Yeah.
so they were they kept all this secret. They have actually destroyed by purpose our education. Everything is completely opposite. The police should take care of us. They are killing us. I have here in Czech Republic several times that they tried to kill me, policemen, and or like they tried to get me to the station, and I knew that what they were planning, and like everything is opposite then. And in the year 2013, the Illuminati were completed with this plan, and they have to tell us, according to their religion or what it is, ethics. And it was 2013. I saw it also, and I believe several more people woke up in 2013, 2014, because the Illuminati came out with the information, and suddenly you were just, what can I do? What can I do to turn it around? Because it looked so negatively in 2013. It was like we have almost lost. It's now just the killing. They are just like the cascade of killings, that it's the last thing that they have in their plan. But we could turn it around. It's 2018 in the end, and now many more people can see it, and so we can do something about it. If you take Jacob Rothschild, you see the plan that they have got, this plan to come to Jerusalem and to build this third temple for their satanic in 3,000 years. In the beginning of 2017, Jacob Rothschild gave an interview to BBC about Balfour Declaration, where he says that it took us 3,000 years. This plan was 3,000 years old to come to Jerusalem, and now they are saying that they want to build the third temple of Solomon. It will be finished next year for sure, they saying. And who will enter the third temple? It's the Antichrist. I don't know which religion you have, Islam or Jewish religion or Christian, but you know that there is some kind of person who is genius, militarily genius, who is political genius, who will kill off us just, and master of deception. And this person is supposed to enter the third temple of Solomon in Jerusalem next year at latest. So what kind of times we are in? It's time to fight, as I see it, and we take the fight, the most spiritual, and not without nuclear bombs and all their weapons more. And then when we put them in prison and take all their property, and all our debt will be nullified by that easily. So then we can take it easy and have joy and do it quickly.
There's a Russian tale about a village and a temple, and in the temple there was a dragon living. It always robbed all the wealth of the villagers, and all the young men were kind of tempted to go into the temple and kill the dragon. And the Russian story is about one little boy who trains himself to do so, and he goes in, and he actually manages to kill the dragon. And after he managed to kill the dragon, he realized that he is turning into a dragon himself. And he realizes that all the other heroes that went in to kill the dragon also managed to kill the dragon. And they all turned into the dragon after killing it.
Well,
And,
so we don't kill the dragon, we just put them in prison, take their property.
it's the same. Put them, take their property, and then you become the rich bastard that is trying to control everybody. No, this is an important point because it's systemic. When you go into the conflict according to their rules, you become the dragon. The only thing that is working in that point is systematically rejecting their tools. Reject the monetary system. Rob them by devaluing their money, by not using it anymore. Decommercialize your life 200%. And then it's completely irrelevant whether we have a financial crisis or we don't, because you don't use that tool anymore. Monetary system, hierarchy. Do not take part in any hierarchical interaction. By default, just declare this not existing anymore. And this is, hierarchy is always based on laws and rules that are not karmic. If you completely, 100% by default, set yourself back to karmic rule, accepting what comes out as a result of your own deeds in full self-responsibility, you 100% reject worldly hierarchy that is set there to replace karmic rules, because they want to steal away from their karma. They want to transfer it to other people. And the only thing you can do is reject that idea by fully complying with your own karmic setup, accepting everything that comes. Example, I bought a mobile home some time ago, and there was some shady things going on in between the seller and me buying it, and I didn't pay the price fully till now. He promised to make the technical exam, but he did not, and things were not in the state that I expected the car to be in, so I kept some money back. But from my own feeling, I still owe him something, but I didn't pay yet. And the entire story of this car is in this energy. I put it to a car mechanic. He parked it in a garage. The owner of the garage changed and had some dispute with the guy who wanted to fix the car, and he kept my car back as hostage to get money from him. And finally, he sold it, apparently, to solve an issue. And I have the possibility I can take it according to the hierarchical laws, go to police and declare my car has been stolen and try to make a legal case out of it. I might as well say, okay, this is karmic. You didn't pay for the car, so it's taken away from you again. This is an internal thing. You can understand the world in the one way, or you can understand it in the other way. If you manage this internal thing of understanding it in the karmic system by completely being responsible for everything that happens to you, because karma rules, then you reject the hierarchy, even on the political plane. If you decommercialize your life, you don't pay tax anymore, because you don't earn money anymore. So you're out. It's possible to completely exit the satanic setup. It means to fully go into self-responsibility again. And then there's nobody left to fight, because they starve within a month, monetarily and energetically.
But Harald, you have NATO with access to nuclear power and all these weapons, and the head of NATO is actually the head of Illuminati, William Van Down. He is the one, in any form he will be, he wants to enter the Third Temple of Solomon. He is genius militarily, because I watched what he has done in 5.5
Yeah.
years, because I was stopping it. And
Yes. I mean, look
he wants
at it. Let him build his fucking temple. Let him go there. Let him sit in his temple and rot there. So what?
He wants to kill us.
No, he can't. He can't unless we comply to his ideas.
I don't comply, but I fight against him. I do whatever.
No, you exactly comply to his game by fighting against him. This is the important point to realize. If you fight, you comply to the panic.
He don't have the weapons. He has the weapons. He has the.
Yeah, so why do you try to fight him? Ignore him. Go out of his sphere of influence to save yourself.
I don't want to have the nuclear bomb on my head.
You won't.
On the children's head, especially.
As long when okay, now you're in between the victim and the savior. Yeah. I don't want to be victimized. I'm the victim of him dropping bombs on me. I don't want to see the children die, so I'm going to change.
Well, okay, if I have to choose, so I want to save the children especially, and I believe it's natural.
Why don't you save yourself? And
well,
by saving yourself,
I want to save myself too, but I mean the children are most important.
There's the victim. You've been in the perpetrator. You've been in the savior. Whenever you argue with somebody, and you get a "but" sentence, it's the victim position.
But he has the nuclear power weapons under his thumb.
So what? What is he going to do if nobody puts attention to him anymore? You need military servicemen to deploy a weapon somewhere. And if they just don't do it, nothing is going to happen. And still, karma is ruling above all worldly hierarchies. If nobody is in the victim role, it's impossible to drop a bomb. It doesn't work. You can see this by look, for example, at Syria. Syria was an absolutely peaceful country. They were so peaceful that they managed to take in, I think, 3 million refugees from Syria.
What did you say? Syria was peaceful.
Syria was completely peaceful. They managed to take in 3 million people from Iraq, refugees from Iraq, completely integrate, although it was already a very dense situation in the cities, so they absorbed 3 million people. And only with the trauma of these 3 million people, it was possible to ignite a civil war. This is what they try to do with Europe now.
Civil war?
Yes.
What are you talking about? Don't you know that foreign minister of France have been on TV and said that 2 years before the conflict in Syria has started, that some British, I don't know, intelligence, he was foreign minister, so intelligence service or some kind of these people from Great Britain, and I believe also from France, and ask him if he wants to be involved because they are preparing something in Syria. And when the conflict started, he understood that it was the British and probably also the French that has started this conflict.
No, it's not. You need two things to start a conflict. You need the command and control structure. And this is indeed Western intelligence. But then you need the spiritual potential to ignite. And the spiritual potential to ignite civil war is trauma, unsolved trauma. And because in Syria there was no unsolved trauma available, they had to import the trauma from Iraq to manage to ignite a conflict in Syria. It wouldn't have worked with the Syrian people alone because they would have been just too lazy to kill each other and too peaceful to kill each other. No command and control structure works that way. They then had to import It didn't even fully ignite. They had to import like 300,000 mercenaries from abroad that they collected from traumatized situations all over the planet, mainly social misery traumata. To be able to kickstart this internal conflict. And still, many Syrians then, with this basic setup of trauma energy in the collective field, stepped into the conflict and started to fight for one or the other thing. And this is why I'm so opposing your let's fight this. Because every single Syrian that got involved into the conflict on the mental level was fighting for the real thing. I said, when was it? Half a year ago, 3/4 of a year ago, I had a meeting with one of the founders of ISIS. He was actually from a Akko family from Israel, grew up in refugee camps in Lebanon, and then started to rather from a higher family. And he said that when they founded ISIS, they were actually just frustrated about the Arab elites that sell off their own people and the wealth of their countries to Western elites. And they wanted to remove their corrupt elites and to protect the Arab countries from abuse by Western entities. A thing where I would say beautiful. And then they go into the mode of fighting. And they start with a bloodshed that is necessary to solve the thing, to make the planet better. And when going into this energy of conflict, they become vulnerable to it. And what then happened is that actually the Western entities created super soldiers in Guantanamo and in Abu Ghraib, like capturing Arabs, brainwashing them with black magic, torture techniques, to create kind of the middle layer of ISIS. And from the middle layer of ISIS, they managed to take over control of the control structure of ISIS. But now look at it. The wish to fight for a better future of the Arab countries and the commitment to a control structure is enough to give the opportunity to the evil to creep in and to take over everything. And this is why ISIS now is a weapon of mass destruction in the hands of Western entities, where the core evil is sitting at the moment. And this is how the planet works.
You are talking about Islamic State ISIS.
Yes.
I mean, for me, it's like operation of CIA and the Illuminati.
No, it used to be a movement done by very good-willing Arab people to stop the abuse of resources and the manipulation by Western entities in the Arab countries. And then it was systematically taken over. And it could be taken over because these people were mental in the sense of thinking that there is something they can fight for that is good, that from there had this Islamic background with a black magic slot to it's okay to slaughter in a jihad situation. We are allowed to kill, and we are allowed to kill foreigners that are not Muslim. This is kind of the typical Arabic opening to satanic actions. So bloodshed is good when it's for a good purpose. This thing, like in all black magic setups, religions, you have this little tiny thing of deception. And they go into the fighting situation, and then they start to build a hierarchy, and that's it. They already lost themselves to the evil, while still being in a good mindset of trying to save their countries.
Well, Harald, for me, this ISIS is a goddess that the Illuminati worship, and when you hear the Hollywood affects the Hollywood music, music industry. It sounds like Illuminati invention from the beginning. And what I would like to say also completely different, but in the same field also, many of us know that why Russia went to Crimea, was it February 2014, that it was a planned nuclear attack on the naval base in Sevastopol, which is Russian naval base. Many of us know it here in that it
yeah,
was,
I heard about it.
and the nuclear attack was prevented, but whole of Europe, the politicians, like they are against Russia so much, and they have to pay. The Russian have to pay for that they went to Crimea. And why? When did they go there? Because there were planned a nuclear attack by the Illuminati, NATO, and they were successful to. Prevent it again, because it was the Russian that has prevented or helped to prevent the nuclear attack that was planned in London and Olympics 2012. It was the Russian Secret Service that has helped to prevent the nuclear attack that the British were planning on own citizens in London 2012, and the Russians have to be punished, of course, because they are not Illuminati.
If you look for the command and control lines, yes, you're fully right. Somebody has prevented these things from happening. If you ask me, and me sensing the collective field, I would say these things got prevented because the collective mind of the Crimean people was too peaceful. They were not open to this experience of being nuked. Too peaceful. If you go to Japan, for example, the only cities that really got nuked in the past, the Japanese people were not peaceful. Japan massacred millions of Chinese people on the mainland. In full open communication over media, what's happening on the Chinese territory. And nobody in Japan was peaceful at that time. The Japanese culture was not peaceful at all. So they got nuked. The Crimean were peaceful.
I don't know.
It's always about the energy you carry and the karma you have to solve. This defines on the highest level what is happening to you.
You know, I see that the Secret Service of Russia wanted to save people and also save their naval base, so they simply had to do it to prevent nuclear attack.
But both levels of reality exist. There's always a story unfolding.
Yeah.
And there's a spiritual background to the story. If you commit yourself to the stories unfolding, you get into this Rama triangle interaction, and you think that you can prevent something by doing something. You try to move matter to achieve a goal. You try to jump in between to rescue the victim from the perpetrator by holding the knife back. This is movement within the material world. This is our playground in a way. But the real difference comes in on the soul level, on the energetic level, on the spiritual level, where the topics the game is displaying are decided on. And if humanity will at a certain point decide for the topic of peace, peace is what they're going to experience. If they decide for the topic of conflict, conflict is what's going to be experienced. And it's much more effective to make decisions on the soul level. To define the outcome of the future.
Okay, so we bring to the table Mr. William Van Down, the Antichrist. Do you know, according to the research of Fritz Springmeier that you know personally, so the mother of the head of Illuminati, William Van Down, is Oppenheimer. So it was the man who helped with the nuclear bomb in Japan. So okay, if we will do peace, then we will do peace with the number one and number two. So we go to the table to discuss with William Van Down, head of Illuminati, and Evelyn Rothschild.
You're still trying to solve things on the material
I want to solve,
plane.
and I want to take their money, and I want to have not stop this complete lawlessness close to that we are on, and other
making peace with William van
take his money, all their money.
No. Making peace with him means, for me, in my world, making peace with this evil character means to fully and honestly reflect what in him has similarities to the things in me. To heal the things within me that are in resonance with his character. To cut off resonance with him. This means making peace with this nasty character.
Well, peace that he doesn't have any weapons, anything at all.
You're not willing to let go from the material plane. You don't have to be afraid of the material plane. If the spiritual plane is...
I can see the weapons. I can see the weapons.
Yeah, and you stick to the observation of the external material plane.
Yes.
Why don't you go to soul level to see what's in unorder on soul level within yourself?
Harald, I'm too simple-minded probably. I believe that I want to solve the problem on the simple level where I am with the nuclear bombs and CERN Hoover Dam attack.
How do you want to solve this? You're picking a battle. You're picking a battle that is impossible to win.
It is possible. It is possible. I want a good future for the children, and I can see what they have been planning for us.
Definitely we are one in the wish that I also wish a good future for children, for all children of this planet.
Without 5G.
Without 5G and without nuclear attacks. Yes, but for me, it's the fruitful work I did was always cutting the resonant points within me, and then see how beautifully the outer world responds in transforming. This is my success story. That I knew what I had to fix within myself, to then miraculously see the outer world healing with me. This is the battle I know I can win. And every single battle I was fighting in the outer world, I lost. This is my experience. I just can't share it.
Yeah. Before we end, and so could you tell us what you are planning? Now you are working with your home, I understand, but
yes.
research and so.
We're going a little bit into the direction of community building to be more diverse in abilities. So friends are moving to the village. We bought a second house in the village for accommodation for the friends who are coming. And it's going into the direction of living a self-sustainable life on all levels. And completely disconnecting from monetary and control grids.
And as a scientist, do you have some plan, some interest that is something that is interesting?
Yeah, there's something I'll be allowed to do end of the coming year. I'm under NDA, non-disclosure agreement at the moment, but there are possibilities to process water, carbon dioxide, and tiny small portions of oil. And you get huge portions of oil, and you get fertilizing water that is curing the soils and giving prebiotics to plant life in huge amounts. And I want to re-enter the research and production in this area. But as I said, I'm under NDA till 2019, so I can't do anything before that. But I think I would like to restart that part.
Mm.
It's a good step to get rid of the fertilizer and chemistry and poison spraying thing in agriculture.
Mm.
And
Okay.
maybe work with local farmers if they agree to, but we have to see what develops.
It sounds good.
Yeah, so go local again, go decentralized, and try to see if the concepts that evolved work in a little bit bigger communities. It's working fine on personal level, on family level. So next step is going to be friends and village community.
Okay, thank you so much, Harald. It was great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, good ones. Although I'm on a building site right now, and actually I look a bit funny because I'm painting walls right now.
Yeah. You look great.
Needed to be done in between.
Okay. Good luck with everything.
Yeah, to you as well.
Bye-bye.
Okay, bye.